Well, it's a cold, rainy day in Arkansas, and I've been stuck inside doing homework for the past week. I've been doing assignments, writing papers, applying to jobs, with no success, I might add. And I thought that I needed a break. There's a little bit of a break in the weather, and I think that I'm gonna go out and try to fish. I'm not feeling too hopeful, but it's gonna be good to get outside for even just a couple hours. Let's go up to the local lake and get a line wet. Well, the conditions are absolutely disgusting. It feels a lot colder than 40 degrees right now. But you know what? I'd rather be out here trying to chase some fish than inside doing homework on a Saturday. Whatever the outcome is, this is already a better time than what I was doing. So this is a really neat part about getting outside and exploring. This is a major trail that a lot of people use. And I was just walking along, and there's a couple little mountain bike paths that go parallel to the main paved trail. And occasionally spot something like this. Right here, it's a pretty distinct line that goes from the paved path right here all the way over there, which is a mountain bike path. And this is a game trail. What that means is animals like deer, raccoon, armadillos, they like to travel along these little paths from one trail to another, because it's a lot easier to go over distinct paths than try to cut their way across and forge their own path. Here's another one right here under this tree right here. It kind of winds back towards the lake. But these are really important to be able to spot for hunting and trapping, because it shows where there's a high concentration of animals. And the best way to find these trails is to look along the edges, look along some edge habitat, which is just the transition zone between one type of land and another. So for example, the trail and the forest. You just have to find little areas that look like they have animal tracks like that, or where the ground looks disturbed. See how the grass is much shorter right here compared to either side? So I know animals use that to travel between trails and through the forest. It's a pretty cool thing to spot. Another reason that I wanted to come out is because sometimes during heavy rains, and even after heavy rains, lakes can potentially have really good fishing, especially if there's distinct areas where the water flows into the lake. This is just because all of that water is violently pushing all of the nutrients and bait fish into the lake from those runoff areas like feeder creeks. So I'm trying to poke around, trying to get to the mouth of that creek. Well, I made it to one of the small creeks that feeds into the lake. This one is dry most of the time, and it's definitely too deep for me to wade. So I think that I'm gonna follow it towards the lake, potentially. I might also be able to cross where the creek is a little bit more shallow. Wait a second, that's not supposed to be there. Well, it looks like this is the end of the line here. There's not really anywhere else I can go. So I think what I might do is try to put my backpack somewhere somewhat dry and try to fish all in this really flooded area. This is gonna be a challenge. One of the other reasons that fishing in these conditions is difficult, other than just being soaked, is that when you're fishing a flood, you're gonna get snagged on things. And right now, I'm using my old faithful magenta shaky head jig. So I'm literally just dragging it on the bottom, pretty much asking it to get stuck. Also, you can't tell if there's any topwater action half the time because there's so much rain coming down disturbing the top of the water. However, it's not really coming down very hard right now. Most of the rain that you can hear and that's coming down around me is residual rain falling off the trees. So all the big kind of splashes in the water are by the tree line. So whenever you see some big splashes out in the middle of the water where no trees are over, that might be a fish. I'm just being really careful where I stand because I don't know if there's floating leaves and all of a sudden the bank drops off really steep. So I've got to be super careful. Also, I've got like no room to cast, just adding to the challenges. Unfortunately, the creek mouth that I wanted to fish is undergoing some habitat restoration right now, and that's unfortunate for an angler. It's not unfortunate in the grand scheme of things. I'm actually really happy they're doing that. It just means that I have no access to get to where I wanted to go, but this is a pretty much identical situation with this other creek. So I don't know if you've noticed it out of the back of the frame yet, but around this creek mouth there's a lot of trees that look a little bit weird. Look at this. All the bark has been chewed off of the base of this tree for about 2.5 to 3 feet up, as well as this tree, and a whole bunch of other trees, including, anyone want to take any guesses as to what could have chopped this tree and this tree and made all of these marks right here? Look how there's distinct lines going this way and this way. That's right, there's a beaver around here. Really cool to see very obvious signs of life. All right, I'm gonna try to go around the corner up here. So I moved around the corner to a little bit more open water, and this time I'm just using this little craw jig that I already had on. Again, I'm gonna get it snagged on everything. Whatever. Well, I'm snagged again, and this jig had a weed guard on it, so that's really unfortunate. Well, folks at home, I didn't really think this through because I don't know what my other options are for what kind of lures to throw, so I don't really know what to do at this point. You know, I'm not really here to tell you what to do or what you should do. I'm just here to show you what I did. So I'm gonna throw this little guy on and pop one of these on. Looks fishy. Here's some other good news. I don't have pliers or a knife, so the tag end stays. Yay! have to squat down to get a good cast. I've got a fish on. Holy, I've got a fish. Holy, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I can't believe I got a fish just now. Oh, wow. This thing is nice. This is like a 2-pounder right here. And I know from that last video that I did fishing for bass that this is definitely around that 2-pound mark. This thing is chunky. Oh, it's got a nice belly on it. Wow. All right, let's get a release on this guy. Oh my gosh, I'm deep in this water. It hit right over there. Oh yeah, I think he's just right there still. No, it's swimming off. I cannot believe I just caught a fish. I'm in awe, and that was a good size one too. I never catch anything here. I just wanted to get outside. Oh my gosh. I'm in disbelief right now. Whoa. All right, well, let's try to catch some more. Whoa. I think I just got another one. Oh. Huh. That's what I thought I caught the first time. So for bass, largemouth bass especially, the reason that I got that fish was because even though the whole point of what I'm doing is to fish this runoff, they're not going to be like trout or, you know, sometimes smallmouth like to be in running water. The bass, the largemouth bass, don't like to be in roaring current. Just like with really most other fish in flowing water, you want to try to fish around the eddies or like the slow moving water. You want to fish where the fast moving water is right next to the slow moving water, or the really muddy water is right next to the clear water. There are some areas, especially near the banks, that the water is moving a lot slower than out in the main channel. And that's right where that last largemouth was. Well, another one of my rigs broke off, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it for today. I really honestly did not expect to catch anything, and so hey, that was a good day. I'm getting really cold. The rain is gonna start coming in a little bit heavier soon. I've actually still got homework that I really need to do. I need to finish strong. I've only got a couple weeks of college left. I've been searching for a job for about 6 months now to no avail, so I'm gonna get back onto those applications, unfortunately,